Welcome back to your live continuing coverage of CE Week 2015 on BeTerrific. I'm Michael Artsis. You're the Terrifics. Thanks so much for joining us. I got to tell you, I got to thank the crew here. They're just phenomenal. I mean, we've had to reset this set 100 times. I'm driving them crazy. I'm running long with interviews because such great content I know you want, and I got to keep everything going, and they keep everything going. So, of course, Greg has done an amazing job and is doing an amazing job. I got to thank him. And, of course, Adam Holtz. He is the man behind the curtain, the wizard, if you will. He's what makes us all look good, sound good. These guys are working their tails off, hustling. Look at this. They reset the beautiful centerpiece here. We've got the Wowie Revs. Those are the cars that battle each other. We're going to do battle later. We've got the Mipasaur that's unbelievable. Got the Aftershocks case. I took the Aftershocks off because those Aftershocks need a charge, and I actually ran the battery dead and forgot to charge them overnight. And then, of course, we've got the Power Go-Go. I love this thing. This could be the best of CE Week right here. This is a magnetic wireless charger, and it's unbelievable. They do wireless charging for all devices, and they have equipment to make it universal for all the different kinds of wireless charging you can do. You can reach us in real time on our Slack chat, beterrific.com/Slack, at BeTerrificTV on all social media, and connect at beterrific.com for email. Drop us a line. We love your feedback. Keep it coming. The Slack chat's been a buzz. You guys are amazing. Thank you for keeping that feedback coming, for your kind words. They mean the world. You guys are the best. We love you. This is what we do it for. I've got John from Indiegogo here. John, thank you so much for joining us. Indiegogo is a crowdfunding service, site, platform, and I think that a lot of the products that are here today, and it must be really special to walk around, not only here today, but around the world, a lot of the music videos that are done, a lot of the documentary films that are made are crowdfunded and are here because of the platform Indiegogo. So a lot of these products are here. And I happen to know Power Go-Go is going to be doing it's an amazing product. They've gotten so much buzz overnight even.
Oh, entirely.
And they're going to be doing a crowdfunding campaign. And they told me last night they think they're going to go with Indiegogo. I hope they do. I think they should. Because I think they've got a great product. It brings power to the creator. You know, we had Noel Leon from Monster before. He had to go door to door selling his product, convincing people that making a better cable would sell, and that you could sell it instead of giving somebody a free cable, and that it would make a difference. He had trouble doing that. I would say if it wasn't for his persistence and his relentlessness and his ability to show that it really made a difference, that wouldn't have happened. Today's world is so different, you can't even walk into a place and get a meeting, but what you can do is say, you know what, I don't need to go to the store and prove that they should carry this product. I can get the people to do it and back it.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Like, it's really been like a revolution of how you now bring your products to market. Yeah, before you have to go through all these traditional means of getting into the brick and mortar stores and kind of going door to door as he did. Some of that still exists, but using a platform such as Indiegogo, you could kind of go right out there to the crowd, and you get the funding to actually make the product, but you're also getting a whole bunch of other things that come out there. The marketing aspect, gauging consumer interest, having that one-to-one direct-to-consumer conversation that makes you then make a bigger and better product at the end of the day.
Well, it's also like a focus group. So since you haven't actually made the product, because you do it before you make the product, you've made maybe a prototype or a couple of prototypes, you can tweak the product on feedback of your customers. And I love what Steve Jobs said, you can't listen to your customers, you especially can't listen to like one customer, and you can't listen to them because they don't know what they want until you give it to them, because what they want is 6 months ago. And I believe in that. But when you can listen to a pool of them and how to make it better, you can definitely make those tweaks or decide not to, but it's a great focus group that gives you that ability, and because you haven't put that into production yet, you can then add some things and make some changes. And I think it's really a very powerful platform, and I think it's created a lot of innovation in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years that we wouldn't see because of that. It's actually spurred innovation and growth.
One of the things that we always say, and one of the things that Sonny Vu, the CEO of Misfit, actually came out and said, running an Indiegogo campaign makes you a smarter company faster. Yeah. It really just gives you that insight into what actually your consumer base wants, because obviously you're in there, you have your own think tank, and you think you're going to put out this product and it's going to actually get everything you want, and you want to find out there's a whole other revenue stream, and you actually get to have that conversation to put out that product at that time.
And what's great is it would cost so much money to do a focus group, it would cost so much money to do all these other things, but it happens as part of the Indiegogo platform.
Yeah, that's all in there. It's that conversation that you're having.
What about the only downside I see to crowdfunding is that there's so much of it going on today that you hear that people say that they need a publicist just geared towards that, and there's a whole cottage industry of doing it. Maybe, and that's part of the thing, the landscape, maybe that's part of the growth. It's not only spurring on its own industry, spurring on others, but Is that true? Is there a way to get noticed on Indiegogo without having to have a publicist, without having to take 20 grand and say, here, go get people to find out that this campaign's going on?
Oh, entirely. Like, there's obviously people that just come to the platform looking for new, interesting gadgets that are popping up. But the way that the real platform works is you really want to try to bring that initial crowd with you. So the same way that the CEO of Monster was knocking on doors to try to get that initial revenue is really what you should be doing with your crowdfunding campaign as well. So you really want to start, want to start that marketing process earlier than your actual campaign starts, because obviously once you start it, then time is ticking on that campaign. So being able to assure you have some sales in that first, say, 48-hour kind of mark, maybe at 30% of your entire goal, is a really good way to ensure that you're going to have a successful Indiegogo campaign.
So maybe when people say I'm going to hire a publicist, it's either that they don't know how to do it or they're maybe being a little lazy on that end of it, but you got to work hard, especially as an entrepreneur. So what you should do is, I like that, you should bring people to the party. It's almost like a band. They go to a club now and they want them to play and they say, well, you got to have 200 people to take the main stage or to headline. You got to bring us 200 people. It's kind of the same thing. I like that. You do some pre-marketing, you do, the social media marketing too, but you get out there on your own beforehand to kind of get the flames going, and then you can get noticed a lot easier. Now, what about, for you guys, if I wanted to be featured on Indiegogo, how hard is that? What's that process like? Like I've got, I don't know, this is my product, this Wowie Rev. Let's just pretend this doesn't exist.
Sure,
I've got this thing, it's called the Wowie Rev, and it's a car that you can play with your app on your phone, and with the other car you can shoot each other, you can have all sorts of fun with it. This is going to do amazing on Indiegogo as my product, and how do I get that featured?
Sure, so first of all, we love working with our campaigners, so we have a big support team that's out there. I'm simply John at Indiegogo.com, so if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.
You're a cool dude, you just give out your email?
It's going to be crazy. But yeah, so if you have like one of these great ideas, how do you get actually featured and get all that visibility in front of our platform? It's based upon an algorithm that we have that's actually measuring activity going on around your campaign. So everything that's getting featured on Indiegogo is actually earned the right to get featured.
Okay, so it's not like you sitting there and being like, wow, that thing that Michael has is really cool, let's feature that. It's actually an algorithm, so I have to fan the flames a little.
Yeah, because we have a very open platform, so anyone can kind of jump in there, but you're going to see a better conversion rate too once you start seeing that activity that goes on. So when you come to a crowdfunding campaign and they have like $0 in there, there's just kind of like a mental block of like, why am I going to contribute if no one else has contributed? So if you could get that momentum going with people sharing the campaign, funding the campaign, updates that the campaigner is sending out, you're going to get that much more of a reward, and you're actually going to see it convert much better when strangers are coming to the platform.
You know what's great is, the only other way to do this in the past was venture capital dollars, right? Or going to a store and getting them to place a huge order, which was hard. Venture capital dollars are good. They're always good. They're hard to get. But the other part of it is you give up a lot of ownership and control.
Yes.
And this, you don't have to give up any ownership and control, and it's accessible. Who's the venture capitalist? Where do I find them? How do I get in touch with them? How do I track them down? What if they don't like my business plan? What if they don't like the clothes I'm wearing? This gives the power to the people, and it really, I can't thank you enough. It's spurred so much innovation in the last few years because it puts the power in the people's hands.
Yeah, it totally opens up a whole bunch of new doors that just weren't there. There's no gatekeepers on Indiegogo. Anyone could go out there and try to put out their idea. It's also, if you want to go the VC route, running an Indiegogo campaign and having that become massively successful is a great way to then open up those doors for VCs that could then open up other doors to do much bigger things as well.
I mean, I agree with that, but it always scares me. What happens if it falls flat on its face because I didn't do the marketing or because enough people didn't find out about it? It's a great product, but it just falls flat on its face. Now, normally that wouldn't be the end of the line, but if I'm looking for VC dollars, you go to a VC and he says, well, I don't know, your Indiegogo didn't do that good. That's
some of our campaigners that are the ones that have taken the most out of the platform, first time they didn't run a successful campaign or they didn't be as successful as they wanted to, they then regroup, take all of that knowledge that they got from that campaign, because it's not simply funds, it's also that conversation piece. Then they come back and they launch another campaign that is much more successful, and then at that point, that product is much more mature,
and they know what they're doing. And they know what they're doing a little bit better too. I hear Indiegogo these days all the time. I'm like, oh, are you doing crowdfunding? Yeah, and I expect them to say one thing and they say Indiegogo, or I expect them to say this or that, or I don't even know what I expect and they go Indiegogo. What makes Indiegogo different than the other crowdfunding platforms, and why are so many people so excited about Indiegogo?
Sure, so yeah, we're an international crowdfunding platform, so anyone can get started whenever they want. We're very big with support, so we work very hand in hand with our campaigners.
I think that's it right there. It's a customer service support kind of thing, because people are nervous, they're scared, they don't know what they're doing, especially the first time.
Well, making sure that they're getting tended to correctly. Obviously, we have skin in the game, so it makes a lot of sense there. And also the analytics that we have on the back end. There's one thing running a successful crowdfunding campaign and getting a nice boatload of cash, but like, actually seeing all that information about your user base and people that are contributing, sites that are making that all happen, all that stuff that you get on Indiegogo is not only going to make you run a successful crowdfunding campaign, but then gives you a great chance of running a successful company at the end of the day.
I also think it's partly the way you feature it, because it's an algorithm. It's not John sitting there picking. It's not somebody in an office that can be influenced by friends or somebody else, or even the idea of that, right? Because even if you're 100% ethical and unbiased and you were picking and you sit there and go, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. First of all, it's only your opinion. And secondly, the idea is that you'd be biased. But the fact that it's an algorithm, you couldn't possibly be biased. It's an algorithm. And so everybody has a puncher's chance, and I think that's part of it.
Oh, entirely.
You like how I worked in a boxing reference there.
Oh, yeah. It's very similar to Google PageRank. Like everything that's on there is earned, things that people are clicking through. You're going to see that become a much better product, and the conversion rates are going to improve. So you're going to get better products out there.
Do you think you'll ever have a time, now that we allow crowdfunding to people to invest in crowdfunding, do you think you'll have a time where people could actually invest in these companies as opposed to just being able to purchase pre-order the product?
Sure, so equity crowdfunding is something that's kind of out there. It kind of just got finally approved. Actually, our founders were down at the White House when that was all going through legislation. We were the first crowdfunding platform, so we support all different kinds of crowdfunding. It's something that we're not ready to make any kind of moves into as of now. We've been very happy with our returns with reward and donation crowdfunding. I think that's going to be another learning curve.
Yeah. You guys are, I think, the best. I hear so many success stories on Indiegogo, and I hear, I don't even think I've ever heard of a failure. I know that they have to exist, and unfortunately, but you know, they happen, but people come back and they do it again, and then they're successful because they learn from their mistakes. But I haven't heard, I think you guys have probably the biggest success rate too. I only hear positive things. I've only seen positive campaigns. I like the platform. I think it's great. Indiegogo.com. It's as simple as that. But I love what you guys are doing. You're spurring innovation.
Oh, it's great. Like if you can just walk around the show floor over here, we have like the physics campaign, which is pretty much my favorite campaign on Indiegogo.
Oh, they're going to be on later, by the way.
Oh, they're great. I love Phil and that team over there.
They're an Indiegogo campaign.
You might as well try one of their beers when they're over here. It's phenomenal.
I know
Indiegogo campaign, I worked with them. They are great.
Yeah.
It's a machine where if you put a 40 ounce of Oldie or just a regular can of Budweiser, if you have it regular, it's kind of like a regular beer, but if you put it through the machine, you get as much body, as much head in there. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, it tastes like a craft beer. I mean, Adam is the beer connoisseur of BeTerrific, and Adam ran me over there yesterday. They're going to be on. We're giving up our lunch to have them on.
Oh, it's well worth it. A liquid lunch with them is well worth your time, man.
But I mean, that's how excited he was, and this guy's made his own beer. He's brewed his own beer, and he loves beer. He's the beer connoisseur, and I'm telling you, he was the whole crew. They were all over there. They were blown away. It's amazing. Yeah.
I look forward to it. Maybe I'll stop back by and get a beer.
Because he's going to bring the thing here. You got to have some. And that's really cool. That's a great success story. What's your favorite success story?
Well, besides that one, we also have the guys, the UMI guys that are on the show floor here as well. They do smart automation. So it's all these different devices that plug in, as simple as, you know, my dad, who's not technologically advanced at all, could just set this whole thing up where you're turning on light bulbs, turning on all these different kind of stuff. They came in there, they originally were going to run their campaign, they decided to regroup. Now they just ran a $1.7 million Indiegogo campaign that's still live.
1.7
yeah, the team
million.
Colin over there is incredible.
Do you ever look at it and just get so excited because you get to watch these companies grow?
It is so awesome, seeing stuff behind the scenes. Because like, there's a lot of stuff that I know it's coming up on Indiegogo in the future, and it's like, here's this next innovative idea.
And you like the idea, and you're rooting for the guys.
Oh, entirely, yeah, we're committed.
I saw a couple of guys who were college kids, came up with a good idea. They put a campaign together. They did $1 million in pre-sales. It was like 800,000, then they did another after. One thing is you guys let the campaign, after it ends, people can still pre-order.
Yeah, in demand.
Yeah, and so they did about $1.5 million total, but they did about 800,000 while it was active, and then you know, and it just blew my mind. It was one of the early ones, and one of the early big ones, and it was like, wait, you guys haven't even made a product yet, and you already sold? Like, it just blew my mind, but it was also great, and it was amazing, and it let them make the mistakes they needed to make as a college kids, and it gave them a little bit of room to do that and grow and actually get the product made. I saw the whole process. I actually documented it, and I saw the whole process inside. Yeah,
it's a great problem to have. And our in-demand program, which is once a campaign has hit its funding goal, you can then keep it open as long as you want. Has worked out really well, because obviously there's a whole bunch of news articles that are coming out about Indiegogo campaigns. People that come into those after the campaign has ended, and they could go in there and they could still buy the product.
What is your advice for crowdfunders, just in general, for anybody doing crowdfunding or wanting to do it? What's your advice to them?
Think it out first. Like, obviously you want to go in there, come up with a whole plan, because it is a very public setting on what you're going to be doing. So you want to be sharing this with friends, family, like see what people like about it. Also strangers, and say like, hey, what do you like about the campaign, what don't you like about it? Make it into a very open dialogue, so that when you do launch that campaign, you know, like, hey, here's things that people already like. But making a campaign in a silo by yourself, you're not going to have that same kind of feeling.
What are the do's and don'ts with your video? A lot of people criticize the videos sometimes, and I'm like, what are you criticizing the videos? These guys are like struggling. They're not filmmakers. They're struggling to get you a prototype, and you're criticizing a video.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a prototype. That's the first thing that's really key for a video. But you want to be kind of in the 2 to 3 minute range, and it's a little bit longer than that. Usually people kind of fade off, and that's fine to have like in subsequent videos that you're going to put up as updates. Just tell your story, like how you come up with the idea, what problem it's solving, and what's very innovative about it.
I think that's important. You have to, like, you can't spend too much time on your story, but you have to tell your story, because people also, I think, deliver for crowdfunding when they reach into their pocket and they deliver money when they believe that the crowdfunding is going to help something, or you buy into the story, right? This is a good story, I feel good, I want to help these guys. I also want the product, but I want to help these guys. And so I think you have to spend a little bit of time developing your story, but it's got to be a good story, and it's got to be succinct, and I think you have to show the product off. I mean, I've seen crowdfunding videos, and I'm like, what does that product do? Why would I want that? You have to show the product off.
You have to show the product, you have to tell your story. It's a much more viral kind of atmosphere. Like when you buy something on Amazon, you're not going to share that on Facebook or on Twitter.
Sure.
But you see a guy's really gut-wrenching story of like, hey, here's the product I've been working on for the last couple of years. Yeah. Chances of you then sharing that campaign and helping them get to that next plateau and helping them get that project funded goes up exponentially. That's one of the big payoffs that they're doing an Indiegogo campaign.
So I want to thank you very much for coming on. I also want to say we've had a lot of people who have had Indiegogo campaigns and crowdfunding campaigns and have been on while they were in the middle of them, and they've written us enormous emails of how we helped them and thanked us. And we had one guy show up at our studio unannounced just to thank us because his campaign got funded. People rave about Indiegogo. We love good stories. We love innovation. We love helping people. So I would say this. Send us good stories. We're happy to continue to promote Indiegogo campaigns. I'd like to offer that to you guys. Oh. And I'd love for you to not be a stranger. Hopefully together we can help get those out there. Look, I'm not selling them to the people. I'm just saying I want people to know that they exist. That's all. And if I think they're good, we think they're good, we'll put them out there, and the people can decide if they want to fund the campaign or not.
100%. I'll take you up on that, Mike. Yeah. It's great. I'm going to love to share that with our campaigners.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing a lot about Indiegogo, and thanks for your advice. Real quick before I let you go, how did the guys who founded Indiegogo come up with it? You said it was the first platform, and I didn't actually realize that. How did they come up with it?
So they actually were dealing with a lot of people that had a hard time getting funding for films, and then they actually came up with the idea of like, hey, if we could circumvent this entire market by going straight to the crowd, that people actually would be buying tickets to go see these movies, have these different kinds of experiences. So they went around. Indiegogo, when we first were created, actually went to, I think it was 90 different VCs and got turned down by all of them to try to get our own round of funding, and then finally we got funded, and obviously now we've platooned, and now we're the world's largest crowdfunding platform.
And you fund everybody, basically.
Oh yeah, fund anybody, and we do charity campaigns, gadgets, anything you can imagine.
I don't know if these guys, Adam, do these guys already have a campaign going back in time? I think they're working on a campaign. They had a successful campaign for the edit? For the edit? It's done. Okay. Well, we're going to have Back in Time on later, awesome. And I know that they either were going to do a campaign, or they're going to do a campaign, or they did a campaign, and we know this guy Ben Stamper who had a campaign. We had him on a couple weeks ago, and his campaign was funded, and that was amazing. But the Back in Time people, I'm so excited about, because these are the guys who went and documented. They went to Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd and Robert Zemeckis, and they documented what it was like. Back to the Future was like, making it, creating it, all that stuff. And it really looks great. I saw the trailer, and we're going to have them on later, and I was going to say, hey, we should make an introduction, but awesome. It's a perfect example of how crowdfunding for movies would be.
That's what our platform is.
Like and the crowd wants that. Like, I would pay for that. I want to watch it, right? I'm a Back to the Future fan, right? But I would never exist if it wasn't for the crowdfunding.
That's what we try to make happen. All these great ideas that it's very hard to get funding through traditional means, we're opening up other avenues for that to happen.
It's awesome.
And if you look at any of our business cards, like all of them have different campaigns that we are, because our platform is our campaigners. That's what we put first.
I love it. John at Indiegogo.com. There you go. He gave it out, so I don't mind doing it. You feel free to flood him with your ideas and your campaigns and your help, asking for help to get going on Indiegogo.com. Indiegogo.com. Run your campaign there. It is an amazing platform, and it's a platform where they care about you, the campaigner, and it's got amazing stuff. Indiegogo.com. Thank you so much, John, for taking a few minutes out here to talk to our viewers and let them know all about it. I'm Michael Artz. This is your live continuing coverage from CE Week 2015. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Micro Machines is the real thing.